Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today I'm bringing to you a first impression, 3 additional looks, and a review on the Urban Decay Naked UltraViolet palette. My channel, a very special welcome to you. I hope you will consider subscribing before you leave if you like what you see today. It's free, it's easy, and it helps you find my videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday when I upload. So this palette retails for $49, as is per usual with the Naked palettes. It looks like so, and Kelly Gooch is the one that made me buy this one. I saw her looks and like first impression review type video. I decided it was a palette that I was very much interested in, and I went ahead and ordered it. So like I said, I have created a first impression for you where I talk you through the look and tell you what I'm experiencing with the palette. And then I have 3 additional looks sped through to music, and I will see you at the end for the review. And we better get into it because we have a lot of ground to cover today. My eyes are already primed with my MAC paint pot in Painterly. I'm going to first go in with this lavender matte right here called Optimized. And I am going to attempt, no promises, to use the brush that comes with the palette. So other than the Naked Honey, if you didn't get that palette, then you would not have seen the newer brushes that they're putting out with the Urban Decay Naked palettes. So you still have this fluffy end, but on this end you have just like a small dense domed brush, which is different. This side used to be a very flat synthetic brush, which I personally think you can use your fingers for. All right, I think that laid down nicely, no kick up in the pan. I think if you had a more dense brush or a flat brush, you could pack this color on closer to what it looks like in the pan. But with this fluffy brush, we got a wash. For the outer corner, I want to try out this, it kind of looks like a rosy taupey shade called Hacked. So I'm going to apply this to the outer part of the lid and then into the crease. This will be our little crease shade. This is a really pretty color with this color story in terms of mattes to pair with both the neutrals and the purples. And the thing that I think is cool about having this smaller dense domed end versus like the flat brush is that you can use this for your lower lash line. You can use this for your lower lash line like I'm going to do now. That is beautifully blendable. I really like the texture of the mattes. All right, now we're gonna go in with my phalange into this shade right here, which is called VR. It's definitely a warm toned, but it has a really beautiful turquoise sparkle to it. So I'm gonna see about putting this on the outer part of the lid. And I don't mind applying shimmers with my fingers, but I will try wetting shimmers in future looks to see if that helps at all. For today's star of the show, I'm gonna go into this beautiful purple right here called Warning. I love a shade like this, and this is beautiful. One thing I will say so far is that the textures of these shimmers are really nice and smooth. They look smooth on the eye. I'm gonna go back in with VR and just kind of blend and add this back in a little bit. Kind of got carried away with the purple. Yeah, now we can see that shade better, that I brought it up a little bit into the crease. I like a shimmer in the crease. All right, last but not least, we have got to try this little aqua shade right here called Lucid. You know we have to. And you pick it up on this little brush and kind of wrap it around the tear duct first. Ooh, this is a very nice inner corner brush, I can tell already. And then go ahead and add that into the actual inner corner, and I'm gonna kind of lightly blend it up onto the lid as well as pull it up in front of the transition shade, as I like to do. All right, this look right here is what I was able to achieve just using this brush dry fingers. Now for science, I think I want to use a couple of my own brushes, maybe wet the purple to see what kind of payoff we can get, and then we'll finish off the look. I want to be fair and I want to give you guys 4 looks that I'm really proud of. So I'm going to just speed through this part and I'll see you at the end. Yeah, I like that better. Better. Okay. I think this is going to be the completed look. I'm gonna pop off of here, do mascara and a lip and something with the hair, and I'll be right back to give me what? And I'll be right back to give you my thoughts. All right, we're back. Here is the final look. This is definitely one of those looks where it took putting on the mascara for me to be like, yes, I do like this look. It wasn't that I didn't like it. I think I'm just very uncomfortable when I'm not using my own tools, my own brushes that I'm used to using. That being said though, the brush that comes in the palette is beautiful. It's very soft and useful, and I think given this tool and your God-given tools, you could absolutely knock out an eye look with this, especially as you got used to using this particular brush. But other than that, I loved all the shades that I used. I definitely thought the shimmers performed better when wetted, when applied wet. So far, so good. First impressions, I feel like this is a very promising palette. And so now we're gonna roll the 3 other looks that I created, and I will see you at the end with my final thoughts. just go ahead and go through look by look. I'll give you my notes and then I'll answer some questions for you at the end. So upon my first impressions, I decided that I really feel like the shimmers perform best when used with a setting spray. I also think you can get the same result with a glitter glue, but spraying my brush worked just fine, and it helped the shimmers to just be more vibrant and have a little bit more of that shine to them. And I also decided in the first look immediately that this shade called Hacked is absolutely gorgeous. I really feel like I don't have anything like this in my collection. And it's, you know, it's a neutral, but it definitely has that sort of undertone of like a dusty plum color. And so it also pairs really beautiful with all of the purples in the palette. And then in the second look, which was our neutral look, using the more neutral side of the palette, I decided that I really love these two mattes right here, which are Mind Slip and Hacked together. Even though that Mind Slip is like a nice warm peachy shade, Hacked being that sort of dusty plummy brown shade, they absolutely pair together beautifully. And I also feel like the mattes in this palette, though there are only 3, the mattes are super smooth, very blendable, pretty much blend themselves out. I like the mattes that they chose to put in here, which are Mind Slip, Hacked, and Optimized. And I absolutely loved the way the neutral look came out, just as much as the looks that I did with the purples. So for me, that makes this a really well-balanced palette that could be very useful to me, even if I'm not going for a purple look. In look 3, I really felt like these two shades, which are Euphoric and Digital, came off more blue than purple. I knew that that was coming from Euphoric because of when I swatched the palettes, but Digital also came off kind of blue to me. And that being said, even in the fourth look, which we'll get to in a minute, this shade Purple Dust right here really comes off more blue than purple to me as well. That being said, I was obsessed with look 3. I absolutely loved it. I will definitely recreate it, and I very rarely recreate any looks. I usually do a different look every day of my life. I loved how that halo eye turned out, and I tried not to use the shade Lucid too much, like overly use it. So I'm really glad that I saved it for look 3 because it turned out absolutely amazing. And then lastly, in look 4, hopefully you saw that you absolutely can use these shimmers in your crease. I don't think they come off overly shimmery, to be honest, when they're sheared out and blended with a nice fluffy brush like the one that comes with the palette. It works beautifully, which makes this that much more versatile because you're not limited to the 3 mattes that are in the palette in order to set up your look. So the things that stood out to me were that there were no dud shades in this palette, in my opinion, whatsoever. I thought they all worked well. They all were blendable, easy to use, in my opinion. And I think it's pretty rare, to be honest, where I find a palette that has no dud shades in it or any shades that I don't like in it. And even though I didn't expect to like these 2 darkest shades, I definitely think that they have a place in this palette and that I will continue to use them to deepen up looks or as a liner. I didn't get a chance to try that this time around, but I think both of those would perform beautifully as liners. And also the mattes were just super, super smooth. I almost couldn't get over it. I heard a lot of people saying that they had a lot of kick up in their mattes, and I didn't. What I think you need to know before purchasing this palette and sort of marinate on is the fact that there are only 3 mattes in the palette. If that's something that's going to bother you, or if you're not in the habit of using a shimmer shade or a satin shade to set up a crease situation for a look, then this might not be the palette for you. Also, that being said, the 3 mattes that are in here, in my opinion, this one, Mind Slip, and this one, Optimized, are very light. Mostly transition shades, or for a matte look, they would look lovely on the lid. And then Hacked is sort of in that mid-tone range. And so those are the kind of mattes that you're working with here. And if you're only willing to work with the mattes, I think if you have anything deeper than a medium skin tone, these might not show up on you very well. I would 100% purchase this palette again if something happened to it, if it fell on the floor and broke tomorrow. I have only used one other Urban Decay Naked palette, and that was not a good experience for me. I had the Naked 3. I liked the matte shades in that palette, but the rest of it was sort of hit and miss in terms of the shades and the formulas within the shades. Some of them were kind of flaky and some of them were kind of lackluster. And then no matter what you did with the palette, it was either a pink look or a gray look or a pink and gray look. So for me, this palette has completely redeemed the Urban Decay Naked palettes for me. I know this isn't a newer formula like the Naked Cherry as well as the Naked Honey. I can't speak to those two palettes, but it definitely makes me curious now having tried this one, because I thought every formula that resides in this palette was absolutely beautiful, workable, blendable, and easy to use. So I'm really glad to say that. If Urban Decay comes out with any more naked palettes like this in the future, I would be curious to try them if it was a color story that I was interested in. Knowing what I know now, I think the person that this palette would be perfect for is a person who does love purple. If you don't like purple, this isn't going to be the palette for you, because even some of the non-purple shades are actually quite purple. We talked about that with the shade Hacked. Where are you? Right here. It has that sort of grayed or smoky plum undertone to it, which makes it pair beautifully with purples and makes it a good matte that can work with both the neutral side as well as the more purple side. But that being said, even this shade right here called VR still kind of has that plummy, a reddish plummy base to it. So again, you have to like purple in order to want this palette. I know a lot of people felt like the shimmers are lackluster in this palette, and I will say they're not foiled. They're not going to be metallic. These are shimmers, not metallics, not chromes or anything like that. This palette is a shimmer formula, and it's very consistent with my other Naked palette in terms of the matte and some of the other formulas that I did like from the Naked 3. That being said, I absolutely think that these are capable of being built up to being very vibrant, as you would see in all 4 of the looks that I created, as well as with a wet brush or a glitter glue. I think that these shades are very vibrant and can be very shiny. You can see the duochrome aspects to a lot of these shades, especially when you wet your brush. So I just want to put that out there. No, these are not pigments. No, these are not foiled shadows, but they are really beautiful shimmers. So with all of that said, I do recommend this palette if you are interested in it and it is within your beauty budget. It's beautiful. It's not anything I think you have to run right out and get right this second unless you've been looking for a purple palette. I think it's going to be around for quite some time, just like Naked Cherry and Naked Honey. Think about it, watch more reviews than this one, and make your choice after that. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comments below which look was your favorite. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful purple makeup days. And I will see you in my next video soon.